Yeah.
Welcome, fans, to today's coverage from Sky Magazine. I'm David Price. We're here with Liam Rosen, and we have a powerful matchup of Ireland against GB. Ireland starting on offense. And Joe Thompson there, denying Dara. I can't say his surname. O'Callagher.
I'll take it from here, David Price. Just to point out, I'm Liam Grant and not Liam
Grant, sorry.
Right.
Bad start.
You earned yourself a bad start.
We've had a bit of a rush start here, guys, with some technical issues with cables being mown over, etc. But let's focus on the game now.
Yeah, Dara Kelly there, unable to take that one down. A first hawk look from Deco Grogan didn't come off, but GB in offense now.
Bowen on the disc. Massive fake gets it back to Mead, one of the under-23 boys from a couple weeks ago. Alex Cragg down the line to Fred Schoen, rhymes with Scone. And that's some massive fakes there, but takes it inside to Joe Thompson. Joe Thompson goes around to Mead. Mead. Back the other way to Philip Garner. Garner takes on the line option for Cragg, who goes to Bowen. Oh, and we have a bit of a slip there from Joe Thompson, but Cragg's able to help out Bowen, who swings it across to Mead. It takes on the round option to Ollie Gordon. Clapham star and next gen star. Ollie Gordon there with the goal.
Yeah, the Irish defense stretched like spandex on Miami Beach there. Left lying naked on the floor. At first break point for GB. Not a great start for the Irish, but hopefully they can pull up their socks and take another goal at this 0 point.
Yeah, a bit of a bad start for Ireland. Taking the long shot, thinking that Dara is a good few feet taller than Joe Thompson, but he's a springy little lad. And able to box out Dara and get the disc back for GB.
Yeah, fair play to Joe. That was a massive D. I think the Irish thinking that matchup was a good choice, but Joe was a springy little fella. These teams met at Tour 2 earlier this year. It was actually the GB O-line they played, and Ireland lost 15-11. Probably the nicest weather we've seen so far here in Copenhagen. Sunny, not much wind. I think the Irish would have preferred a bit of wind and rain, what we're used to. But let's see what we can do against this top-notch GB side. Ireland on offense. It's a great pull. James Finn coming under it. Chris Hunter. Is it the John Dock, who's looking deep as always as those cannons fly. Will Martin trying to track this one down. Lots of pressure. Has to go! Will Martin plucking that one out of the stars. Amazing stuff. The KaBuM player living in London gets one up on the GB boys.
Yeah, I wouldn't have expected that to come back in actually. When John Dock let go of that, it looked like he was going straight out over the other pitches. But Will Martin did well there under pressure from Joe Thompson and Alex Cragg.
Yeah, flight control in Copenhagen coming up with that one, wondering if the FR118 was going to crash into it. That one hanging in the sky.
He needed to get his indicator lights out. Call it in for landing. Got a big GB, well, I say big, couple rows of GB contingents watching here, supporting these lads. And the infamous Jules Murray also watching along with us. GB now on offense. On the line is Magnus Wilson, Rob Schumacher, Lloyd Cheeseman, Jamie Cross, Justin Ford now on the disc, and Matt Parslow and John Stobbs. Dave Stobbs, sorry. Shuey on the disc on the near sideline. Takes the line option for Parslow. An easy and free Stobbs. Just isolated in the middle of the pitch there. Stobbs to Cheeseman. Cheeseman to Stobbs. Stacks a bit deep. but Magnus Wilson comes back to fill in. Wilson around to Ford. Ford easy inside to Parslow. And you can't sit off Parslow that much because he'll just fake you out. Ford back to Parslow. And an easy goal to Schumacher. A bit of an offense clinic there by GB. Didn't look like Ireland had a chance to catch up or get a block in anyway.
Yeah, cool, calm and clinical there by the GB offense. A bit different to the Irish style of playing. And if GB continue like that, it's just going to be very hard to stop. Real simple passes, good communication, and waiting for that right choice.
You'll see a lot in the offense of many of the Clapham players. About 80% of this team are Clapham Ultimate players. And in that little three-man weave there, you saw Ford, Parslow, Schumacher. And that is the key to their offense. They'll use that connection a lot. From other teams, we've got Alex Cragg from Fire of London, and a couple of Brighton City players, and a larger contingent of Chevron players in the likes of Ben Parsons, James Mead, Sam Bowen, Neb's now Clapham, but I guess he was Chevron.
Ireland coming down on offense now. So this is a power pool game. GB carrying 2 wins into this against Russia and France. Ireland carrying 1 win and 1 loss into the power pool. A win against Switzerland, a loss against France. So both teams very much in contention for a quarterfinal spot. Chris Hunter now at the disc. Playing in Glasgow. John Dock looking deep again with those cannons. The Irish captain. And the spicy player is that. And sends again to Will Martin. Will tracking this one down again. Will, usually the main handler for this O-line, but today seems to be the cutter. And he hits Derek Kelleher with a casual grab to get on the board. Good stuff from the Irish.
Yeah, it was very well played there. They were very much pinned back by a very good pull from Tom Abrams. But John Dock, yet again, finding that deep shot to Will Martin. Here we see that casual behind the player grab. Oof, if Mum had been a bit more into the game there, you might have seen a bid.
Yeah, replay there, Will Martin. Playing his ultimate in London with Kapow. I think he'd be very happy with his performance so far. A little feathery flick there, but the claws of Derek Keller are able to get onto that one. Those big flute playing flingers. Flingers.
Let's not try and give him the nickname of the claw. That's been taken by someone else.
Call him the Flingers. Dara the Flingers Kelleher.
If you want to get in contact with us up here in the stands, best option is to use Twitter with @David_Price. It's PRYCE. As my fellow Irishman here doesn't have Twitter yet. So, GB on offense. Stobbs fields to cross. Bit of a zone here from Ireland. Probably a good option with the way that GB were handling through their man earlier. This is Ben Funk, our American community player. Been in England for a couple of years now. Played with Clapham in Lecco. Parslow to Funk. Across to Stobbs. And back to Cross. Cross and Stobbs you're going to see a lot of. And a peachy hammer there to Parslow. To Funk. And a travel called. Most likely on Parslow. And a lovely reenactment there by the Irish player.
Yeah, Niall, well known for his reenactments. Does a lot of musical theatre as well. Expect him to bring the pantomime to this game.
We could call him Jonah with that haircut.
There's 2 Niles on the team. One of them is known as Handsome Niall, and that ain't him.
Does that mean he's ugly now? Oh, and if a huge backhand fake there. Sorry, hammer fake that Niall went with. Back to Cross. Gets it to Ford. And Parsons toes it in. Well played there, GB, coming out of that call. Again, making it look very simple. Taking the open options. 2-1 Great Britain.
We heard the Irish team doing a little Pat Benaker "Love is a Battlefield" chant. Two very contrasting offenses so far from the two teams. Ireland happy to huck it. GB putting a lot of pressure on runners, and the Irish choosing to take that. While GB just being very safe, breaking the mark at will and using the whole width of the field. And the Irish just finding it so difficult to take away all their options.
Yeah, the GB team have quite a lot of depth, so they're able to plug in players into many positions. That's why you probably can't see on the sideline, but they're resting about 4 players, including Ashley Yeo, Jake Aspin, Callum Ayers, and Hayden Slaughter. This is so that they can have a good rested team by the end of the tournament. And maybe they don't think they need those guys in this game.
Yeah, we'll see what the GB defense do now to try and stop this huck-happy Irish offense. It's been successful so far. Maybe not the best percentage offense.
Well, you say that, but they've still got 2 goals out of it.
It's true. You see Declan Grogan from Dublin taking this one up, hitting Chris Hunter, who lives in Glasgow, but hails from the north of Ireland.
It looks like GB having a bit of a sag here off of the handlers, trying to force them to swing around rather than take on the deep option.
Yeah, good decision there. Just keeping some players in the lane. But now we see the deep shot going up. Handsome Noel trying to chase them down, but just doesn't have the legs.
Ollie Gordon is one of the quickest players on this squad, even though he's very tall. During the trials and the agility test, he actually got the best score, beating the likes of Ashley Yeo and Justin Ford, even though they tried to beat him many a time. So I had an absolute faith that Ollie Gordon would get that.
Will Martin with the big layout D there, knocking his fingertips to it.
Neb to Garner. Back to Weddle. Across here to... a bit of bumping there from Tom Gordon. Gordon on the disc. Fakes off the deep shot. Gets it to Raz. But a foul called. An offensive foul on Ollie Gordon.
Yeah, uncontested foul. You'll see the Irish using the hand signals all the time. Mad for the hand signals over in Ireland, so we are.
Raz now takes the inside to Weddle. High to Bowen. Bowen to Weddle. Far sideline with Weddle. Gets into the middle to Raz. GB taking their time here. Bowen fakes the hammer. Doesn't like Craig's. Makes Craig go back, but gets it straight back into Weddle. Weddle down the line to Raz. Raz gets it around to Fred Schoen. Schoen with a maybe needless hammer, but Weddle in the corner to Craig. GB really being patient there, taking their time, and there's the break. 4-2 GB.
Yeah, patience is the recipe for victory here. Ireland looking for that deep shot again, but it's just not going to come off every time. They need to add another dimension to their offense if they want to compete with this GB team.
Yeah, especially with the speed and athleticism that we're seeing from many of the players on defense. Just had a tweet here from Matt Aspin, one of the GB under-23 lads, saying, do we know why the man, the myth, the maverick, Jake Aspin isn't playing? As already mentioned, he's being rested. And he's also saying, please say hello to Sleeve. I don't know who Sleeve is. But hi.
The Irish just broke in Hagen. Let's hope they don't choke in Hagen. Obviously, any Irish team comes up against the likes of GB. It's a bit of a grudge match for us. Maybe not so much for E, but we always like to try and get one up in English.
Well,
or should I say British.
In the open division, you don't really get to beat us.
No, it doesn't happen too often, if at all. But this Irish team has a lot of heart, and they're going to give it their best.
Yeah.
John Dock getting high there. Look in the end zone again. Flings one to his rebel teammate Donal Murray. Will this one stay in bounds? Oh, just drifting out. The option was definitely on, but just too much mustard on that buttery back end.
Getting some information here from Jules Murray. She pointed out that GB are forcing middle in an attempt to stop those hucks. But look, as you saw there, John Dock still took it on. That sort of very cross-pitch backhand knife. As you did also notice, it didn't quite make it out. Mead throwing out straight out of the pitch and giving Ireland the end zone short field.
Yeah, the first real mistake we've seen from GB.
Yep.
6 points into this game. And Ireland need to take this one because they're not going to get it very often. Will Martin picking up this disc at the corner. Looking for John Dock, the Irish captain. Oh, clogging this inside lane. Having to throw a dishy pass to no one. Not good end zone offense by Irish there. Disc goes up.
Magnus Wilson underneath it. Oh, just reels it in. Nearly had to bid. Resets to Schumacher. It's a bit slippy there. Wilson gets it back. Across to Tom Abrams, sorry. Crag now on the corner. Oh, and dishes it off to Raz. A bit of a wobbly throw, but Raz able to pick it up.
Yeah, the GB team getting away with those wobbles just because they have the receivers who have those big hands to gather up the loose disc. And that's what you get with this level of play from the GB team. Even if your throw isn't perfect, you expect the receivers to get there anyway. They're fast, they're big, they're good players. The Irish have a few injuries as well. Dara Keller's brother Enda on the sideline did his cruciate ligament in his knee, unfortunately. But there to help out. Tommy O'Connell, a Ranelagh player, had a bit of a sore back, so he's at home in Ireland. I'm sure he's watching this and going mad at the telly. And myself here in the grandstand, who is struggling not to shout into the microphone to encourage my teammates, but I'm glad to be here with Sky Magazine helping out. And I'm very proud of the lads.
The score here is 5-2 to GB. Now pulling to the Irish O-line.
That one landing right in the corner of the end zone. Will left with a difficult decision to see if that one hit the line or catch it. He chose to catch it. And now in a difficult position. GB squeezing. John Dock now. You know where he's going to the air. Dara Keller trying to run this one down. Oh, can he get there? Whoa. Just closing down speed of that GB player. Off quicker than a Deb's dress. That man is fast.
Yeah, Tom Abrams, sorry. It's hard not to call him by his nickname. Tom Abrams there showing his athletic prowess. It's quite a terrifying player to have breathing down your neck. And made sure there.
Yeah, that one just off the far sideline, so Dara Keller couldn't really attack it either. As twice now we've seen John Dock not really keeping the disc in bounds and giving his receiver a good chance of getting it. For Ireland to win this game, they need John Dock firing on all cylinders. Talismanic captain.
So Bowen on the disc. Goes down the line to Abrams. To Weddle, who has to go high and get it. Inside to Thompson. To Ben Parsons, and some nice flow there from the GB D-line. Ben Parsons supposedly nutmegged Roy Keane live on Irish TV when he was 12. It's a fact we've been given by Jamie Cross. I'm not so sure if I trust it, but we'll go with it. The score now here, 6-2 to GB.
Timeout call there, I think, by the Irish.
Yep.
The guesses should be the Irish. They're the one in need of it.
Yeah. And we'll take a quick break here. We'll join you back after the timeout.
We've had a 9 o'clock game and then our next one is at 5. Yeah. Where are you staying? Dan Hostel. Oh, okay. Yeah? Dan Hostel. Yeah, I think just because of our times have been so ridiculous. Our breakfast was 6 to 6:30. What did you do?
I tried to my at the party.
Doing what?
So I got kicked out of the party, and then I snuck back in, and then the bouncers were chasing me. So like, take a shortcut down kind of like a set of stairs. I was like, I'll just jump them. Cleared a lot of them. I did, but
Forgot that you weren't Superman?
here I am.
Oh, gutting. So is that your team? What do you want to say to him?
I want to be struggling because I'm struggling not to like.
Because GB played zone on them down there.
Yeah. Defense, I don't really think you're doing anything wrong. This is GB really good. I know. Break the Mac more. They can.
I feel like they need to finish their cuts. So because they're staying really in the same place. GB aren't moving. Whereas if they drive someone, like finished everything and kept big, then GB would actually have to be more honest.
Ireland on offense again now. Find themselves 6-2 down after only 20 minutes to play. GB, the strongest team we've seen in this division so far.
Yep, they beat everyone in their pool. That was France, Spain, and Russia with relative ease. I think most of those teams not even able to get to 10. Ford pulling. Ford now on the D line.
Centers to Will Martin. Okay, so small yards between the handlers there. Deco struggling to find anyone. Swing again to Will. Handsome Niall on the disc now. We're into peak cap. To Debo Darrowburg, popping off the crisp. Bit better play now from the Irish. Taking the easier option. Oh, and a blunder from Deco Rowe, and he won't be happy with that one. Oh, and giving straight back.
That was lazy there by Raz. Bowen was trying to just run through, I think. But Ireland now with a second chance.
Handsome now doing well there, and Justin Ford to get some unders. Takes off again. Deco can't get the break to him. Puts it out into space for Will Martin. Fakes the deep shot. Tries to thread the needle around there, but can't execute it. Good containing from GB overall.
A question here from Get Horizontal. Where are Richard Harris and Dom? They did not even trial for this GB Open team, so they're not here. That's that simple. I believe they didn't want to play. We may see them in the next round for the Worlds tournament, but at this tournament they are not present. And I don't think they're missing massively yet. We'll see how that goes in the rest of the tournament and see if there is a big effect with them not being here. But there are some very good players on this squad, doing a very good job for Great Britain. So Bowen here, far sideline, Crag under pressure. Takes the shot to Funk.
Chris Hunter getting roasted in the end zone there. The GB players looking a lot faster than these Irish. The success so far has a lot been down to the wind and rain we've seen earlier this week. The lads able to grind it out through the harsh conditions. But the British lads doing better in the sun here.
Are you trying to say that Irish players are susceptible to sun and heat?
Well, I am, so.
No, the GB boys have done a lot of preparation coming into this tournament. Including 2 tours in separate lines. The US Open, Windmill. And that's about it, I think. That's all the ones I can remember. So they've had a lot of time playing together. And obviously, as I said, a lot of the team consists of about 80% Clapham, which does help with the team cohesion there. And of course, all the training they've done, or weekly Wednesday trainings, along with monthly weekend sessions.
Ireland putting out their D-line now. Dio went on a bit of a run there. Yeah, definitely a lot less preparation for the Irish team. Just one warm-up tournament tour where they came 4th. And only really kind of 2.5 training weekends. Unlike this GB team, a lot of the top Irish players choosing to play mixed. And those guys going 5-0 so far, and definitely looking intention to win that division.
Pick has been called. Looks like GB came out with a zone there.
Kev Timoney on the disc. One of the more experienced players. Looking for the big man Mark Fanning. Holsters that huck. Louise, our Venezuelan import. Plays with a lot of style and finesse. Mark putting up to Oisin Murphy, the lefty. Hits Alan Kelly with the fluffy righty backhand. Now looking at it now, he likes to send it, put it into Oisin, just too much zip on that one. He won't be happy with that. The option was there, but couldn't get enough hang on that disc.
Joe Thompson now picking up, wants Crag and Shuey as his cutting pair. Crag having to go back and get it, but make sure. Weddle goes around to Mead, pick called. The Irish demonstrating their knowledge of the Wolfdev hand signals very well already. I'm pretty sure the mixed team did a lot of the same in the Windmill final, which helped us out a lot. So it's good to see. Mead on the disc, back in on 0. Oh, and some confusion in the cutting lane there.
Now this one put in space for Oisin Murphy, and they don't get it a second time. They do. No glitch in the matrix there. Oisin Murphy reeling that one in.
Yeah, nice reaction there by Murphy. Strike deep, get them while they're confused in the turnover.
Oisin Murphy, definitely one of the leaders of this D-line. The man has some great ups, that big left hand. Skying a few players already at this tournament.
We've got a question here from a couple of the volunteers from UK World who wondered how you hurt yourself. In fact, we had a response by the one who took you to A&E, but they want to know which stairs you jumped down and why were you jumping down some stairs, Liam?
I have no idea what they're talking about, David. It was a shark attack. I thought it was well known by the whole world. Did you not see the video? Shark attack.
I saw the surfer who punched a shark attack. I think that went on Facebook recently.
I was there as well.
That was you, right?
I gave the shark a kick.
You were the shark?
Gave him a boot.
You were the shark, right?
I was the shark, yeah.
So GB now coming out on offense. Stops, centers to cross. Doesn't even see the zone.
uncontested strip there.
Yeah. Ford taking in the hammer. Gets it across to Funk. Back to Ford. Ford with the cross pitch hammer to Jamie Cross. Ooh. And a turnover. It looked like he had a call to make, but well played there by the Irish defender.
Oh, and a poor shot by Donald Murray.
Straight into Ford's hands. Swings to Cheeseman and into the middle. Back to Cross now. Another hammer. And these hammers are not coming off, I think, as the Brits would like them to.
And another goal by Oisin Murphy. That is a break for the Irish, just what they need. Some good defensive play, baiting those hammers. They got some athletes in the back there. Oisin Murphy, Niall McCarty, Kevin Timoney doing monumental stuff there to put some pressure on those British hammers. And we see Mark Fanning there with a buttery biscuit straight into Oisin Murphy, snatching that one.
I don't think the GB boys will be very happy with those last couple of points. They're being a bit too relaxed, taking on a few less optimal options, shall we say. Whereas before they were being very conservative, protecting their deep space. Here they're really pushing for the riskier shots, and maybe that might be in their game plan to try a few things out, but I don't think they'll be very happy with the turnovers that they had in that last point.
Yeah, maybe getting a little too casual. The GB players there. We haven't seen him taking those risky hammers at all. We just saw him swinging it and slicing through the zone before. And whoa. Luis, the Venezuelan player there, just running straight through Jamie Cross.
Schumacher gets it to Cheeseman with a very interesting headband selection. Across to Jamie Cross. Parslow inside. Wilson on Cheeseman, then ripping through the offense there. Funk to Schumacher. On this near side to Parsons. Parsons taking on a lovely option there to Schumacher. Making it look very easy again now, GB, and tightening back up again.
Yeah, the offense is smooth as a pint of Beamish. Much better from the British.
Got a tweet from Sarah Harrison saying that the stream has crashed. I'm just checking it here with my laptop to see if it's working.
Be careful, David. If you put up a stream of us, watching us, streaming it, it's like you're going to open a vortex. Who's going to get sucked into your laptop? That's what's going to happen, David.
It's all right. I think I can deal with it. If not, Jules Murray can step in.
She's going to get sucked in there too, man. It's like Googling Google. You just can't do it. It's just...
Yeah, it seems to be on. It seems to be working using the sporttv.fi link. We're a bit behind. This is good. Interesting to watch. We're watching a replay of a replay.
Yeah, we live in the future.
Yeah, we're quite far ahead here. That'll just be the delay that's on the stream. Sorry. Ireland now on offense.
Declan Grogan again in the middle. Nice low break to James Finn, who gets it to Will. The GB handler Mark's doing very well to shut down some passes in the lane, but eventually this one that goes up to John Dock. Usually safe as a house in the air. Can he get up there? Oh, and some good position by the GB player. Oh, Dock can't get on the second attempt either. Good pressure by the GB defender.
Yeah,
getting on John Dock's back and not really letting him make a play on that disc.
Yeah, that was Fred Schoen. A very good defensive player. I played with him myself on Tooting Tigers and the GB mixed beach team a couple of years ago. Now Thompson on the desk to Garner. Moves it across to Weddle. GB doing well there to spread the play. Bowen hucks it to Joe Thompson, who takes a couple of attempts but fluffs it at the end.
A lapse in concentration there by the GB player. The Irish defender, I think, it gave up on it at that stage, but a bit too much butter on his scones this morning.
Yeah, I think he could have just clapped that. I mean, the first attempt was actually probably good to put the defender off, but number 2 was just lazy, and 3 was comical, if that.
Giving the Irish another shot here. This one, an absolute peach there, Keller. Just shy of the end zone. Needs to stay calm here.
GB doing well to close down the options.
Eventually a little buttery biscuit to Handsome Niall getting a goal. The Irish still in contention here.
Yeah, they've got themselves back in this game, taking advantage of any GB mistakes, and there have been a few. Tom's Tawney have tweeted us saying didn't mention the Belgians yet. Well, no, because they haven't been on the stream, so we wouldn't have mentioned them. But they have played very well this tournament so far. And they are playing GB later this afternoon in the power pool.
Yeah, I definitely called it at the start of the tournament, saying that they were incredibly underseeded, coming in the lowest pod. Finished top of their group, beating Switzerland, Ireland and the Czechs. Yeah, no stream of the Belgians yet, but I think we could be seeing them later on the week.
Yep, definitely.
And a good shout at getting an easier quarterfinal, and I think everyone expects them almost to get to the semis and give these GB lads, the Germans and the French, a run for their money.
A nice pull there from Ireland. Cheeseman centres to Stobbs. Has Cheeseman free on the open side. And a nice break to Parslow. A little play there between Parslow, Funk and Stobbs. That's a new boy band right there. Forward, around to Cheeseman. Cheeseman doesn't like the forward option and goes for the thumber to Wilson. Across to Parslow. Parslow with forward on the inside. Lays off to Stobbs. Stobbs resets to Funk. Stack very deep now, but Stobbs holds on. Breaks to Wilson. Wilson to Parslow. Fakes the inside. Goes up and around to Wilson, using that height. Wilson the lefty all the way across to Funk. Funk back to Ford. Back to Parslow. As we said before, this is the connection you're going to see, that Clapham connection. Now with Cheeseman. And a break for Funk. The pressure is ramping up here from the Irish, but the GB are currently taking it on like a sponge.
Stunning stuff from the British there. I don't think you could fault this Irish zone. They put them under a lot of pressure, but just smooth and silky, immaculate stuff from the GB team.
Another fact from the cross vault. Supposedly Ben Funk only sometimes wears denim shorts. And that's half there for Great Britain at 9-5. Well played so far by Great Britain, but a few mistakes creeping in that second quarter as Ireland stepping up their defence. But can they do enough to really rattle the GB cage? We'll be back after half.
I have to say any of my funny things because it's usually when something really crazy happens. This is like smooth, silky stuff.
tried to cover a modest there and come here, but I got to here. See if I can tell you what I can. I'm so sorry. So no, I'm like, no, I'm very cautious about this. She took it well, she laughed. It's been sort of tactical.
Yeah, that's cool. That's fine. Just be aware. I'm just like always yeah. Sounded pretty good. The boys got a bit of work to do, man.
Yeah, the GB team is very good though.
They really want to score. They just stuff it down.
Yeah, it's your
I think like at half time or something probably pretty safe. It's just the one ones because there's a shitload of stuff that we might be in the back trying to figure out over. I hope the team drop out of the time so that they should so you just got how's this?
You didn't notice? And it gets to the end, the circle goes red. It's good because people probably don't know it's 100 minutes.
Yeah. You still have people asking what's the right circle for. The other thing I was going to do is, you count down and then count up. Count down to 0.
It just makes sense to count up because you just keep.
Cool, yeah, it's on the play, take your ass off, so I've got access to those. Where's he taking his bag?
Welcome back to the Sky Magazine coverage of the European Ultimate Championships. Ireland taking on GB in the Open Division in a hotly contested power pool. Ireland starting off on defense. Oisin Murphy has been having a fantastic game, going to pull this one in.
GB on offense, as ever. Stobbs, Cheeseman, and Cross at the back there. Funk totally free in the middle. Finds Parslow, who finds Wilson. Wilson with gets a couple of fakes and gets it back to Parslow. And now Wilson. And Funk across to Parsons. Parsons, one of the only non-clapping players on this O-line. Puts it back to Cross. Cross finds a lovely inside break to Wilson. And yet again, GB Open making it look easy. Smashing through that Irish defense.
Yeah, orgasmic offense there from the GB team. Definitely one of the best O-lines in the world. Able to stick with it to when most of them were playing with Clapham and Lecco against Revolver, against all the big teams. When they're firing all cylinders, there's very few teams that can stop them.
Yeah, I was watching that Revolver game, and Revolver were struggling to stop them, but played very well to come back and win that game. They had to, and potentially a tougher game than any other team gave them in that tournament.
Yeah, speaking with Greg Cohen back in California afterwards, he definitely said that was the best match they had in a long time in Lecco or anywhere else.
But GB here have been able to complement their team with Clapham have been able to complement the GB team here with some players from around the country. There was a very big discussion before the selections were made that whether it should just be a Clapham team or whether they should hold trials and mix it up. Of course, there is a large proportion of Clapham. The trials did bring forth some other fantastic players from other club teams.
GB come down a bit of a zone now. Quite a passive four-man cup. Chris Martin taking on the difficult scuba there. Hits handsome. Deco looking for the give-go. Looks like they're transitioned to man now. Taking a while for the Irish to adjust. Darker just able to squeeze that one in. Hitting Donald Murray now. with a quick swing to Chris Hunter. Able to nab that one. Now sing it deep to Will Martin, who's been playing fantastic, and it's a goal. 800 years of oppression, not easily forgotten, Dave. The Irish still giving it everything.
There's not much I can say to that, except that Tom Abrams there, right position, but the disc perfectly weighted over the top of him. You can see here just as Hunter steps up, there's that backhand, and Abrams is in the right place. Oh, just doesn't quite get the elevation to get that D. And Martin brings it down. Oppression or not, it's a great bit of play by Ireland.
Yeah, the two lads hailing from the north originally in this play, and played their ultimate in the UK, so you can see they're rallied up for this one, and I'm sure they know this GB team very well, and they'll be chuffed with that one.
Yeah, it was nice play by the Irish. Still 5 points down though. 10-5 to Great Britain.
I believe it's 10-6.
Sorry, I can't see that scoreboard from here. Yeah, 10-6, you're right. Oshin pulling there. Pulling out of the pitch. Giving Stobbs the chance to brick. As he does. Looks like Ireland are coming out with a zone of their own.
Yeah, the red-headed fella kind of carry under this there. Had an amazing game against Switzerland where Ireland had to break 6 times to win that game. Connor on the mark in an unusual zone that whole entire time, and he's an absolute terrier.
Cheeseman working well with Parslow and Stobbs. There's Cheeseman once more. Back to Stobbs across the forward. He's come back into the handle position. He's just going to stay back there with Stobbs and Cheeseman. Cheeseman takes on the reset to Stobbs, who gets it to Parsons. Parsons goes back to Cheeseman. Oh, and takes on the lovely inside shot to Parsons. Bit of flow here for GB down that near sideline. Now the swings come back in, across the forward. Oh, and Cheeseman breaks beautifully there to Schumacher. Another break to Parslow. He wants to get some yards. Pushes Cheeseman through. 10 metres out. And Chewy being a bit lazy and milking it in. Chewy with a goal there. 11-6. Great Britain.
Pure quality from the GB team there. The amount of options that downfield cutters gave during that zone is just astonishing. Just working so hard, giving options. They don't get the disc, they're creating space for someone else. Just a fine-tuned machine, this GB team.
Yeah, Rob being a bit cocky there, trying to milk that one in, but he did have some time. There was a defender coming up behind him who could have D'd him. And you can see with his wry smile there, as you called it, that yeah, you're right. GB playing very smoothly in the second half.
Yeah, Rob, a little smirk there. I think he was aware of where the Irish player was and happy to be the casual cat.
Is that your cup? That's your cup, not mine. Right.
Ireland now on offense. Oh, and Bowen there with a layout block. Weddle to Raz to Thompson, and a call has been made in the stack. Bit of confusion in the Irish offensive line there. They were stacking quite deep, which meant that GB could know exactly where the Irish wanted the disc. Really, there's only one way they could go. Thompson now on the disc. To Cragg. Back to Thompson. Gets it to Raz, who gets down and makes sure. Raz goes around to Thompson. Fakes a break. And eventually takes one on to Bowen. And that's double happiness for Sam Bowen.
Lovely little frosty flick there, hitting that break. And not the best point for the Irish. As you said, stacking a bit deep. The GB players then taking away the under options and a quick turnover. And they can't afford another break in this game.
I'm going to go back to the cross fact vault. Supposedly Rob Schumacher is looking for work in London, so please get in touch if you have a suitable opportunity. Selling himself there a little bit, and when I got that email, I was like, this looks like LinkedIn. I'm going to delete this. But in fact, it was Jamie sending me a fact. And I'll slip another one in before we get the next point. One of the players sitting out is Callum Ayers. He's not playing this game as he ran out of hair product last night. Take this as you will. Fact or fiction. This is David Price and Liam Grant here doing commentary for Sky Magazine, working with Elisa.tv. If you want to get in contact with us using Twitter, the handle you want is @David_Price, P-R-Y-C-E.
Chris Hunter now. GB coming down with a zone. Deco Rogan. A lot of pressure here. Having to go for the bladey flick, and that one inch perfect. Will Martin thinks about the hook. Eventually hits John Dock. He sends it back to Deco. To Dara Burke. Better play from the Irish. Will Martin trying to get that one. Oh. Didn't need to force that one. The Irish just wanted to keep the flow going and needed to chill the beans outside the end zone there.
Will Martin looks like he's hurt his neck a bit there on the bid. Oh, and he was quite close to that disc as well. He got a touch on it. Will Martin has caught injury. He's twinged his neck slightly. Weddle on the disc. And that's a Japan play by Great Britain. Isolating the back of a side stack. Gets it to Ollie Gordon, who fouls on the mark. And we're back in. Gordon going around to Abrams. Continues it to Schoen. We go back to Abrams. All the way back over to Weddle. She'll be doing very well using the width of the field. Forward, inside to Gordon. Centres to Weddle. We're back on this far sideline. And here's that swing again. Wilson on the disc. Down the line to Schoen. Back to Wilson. Goes high to Ford. Continues to Gordon. And we can see GB progressing down the field with relative ease, swinging it back and forth across the pitch. That was about 5 or 6 swings before they got to that central point, about 10 metres out on Ford, and took an easy option for the goal. What would you have to say to the Irish lads, to Liam, to try and stop this GB steam train?
Yeah, it's constantly that continuation swing that GB are scoring with. I'd say about 90% of their goals are that. And the likes of John Dock and some of the big defensive players in the air need to be a bit stronger on that mark. And maybe a few switch calls, just can't keep getting broken around for that easy goal.
Yeah, it does look like Great Britain are breaking almost at will. A little fact here is that the physio down on the sideline, his name's Robbie, is in fact Irish.
He is the physio for the Irish team.
No, for the Great Britain team.
Well, we have a physio called Robbie as well.
Really?
I think he's English.
He's English? Oh my word. It's messed up here. Oh no, you're right. It is Robbie the you're right. Hang on, wrong way around. Robbie is the English man, the Irish physio. So some crossed paths there.
Louise with the disc. Finding Kevin Timoney. Looking for a reset. Now McCarthy with it now. Hits Louise up line. Good play there. Looking for Darren Scully deep. Great read by Darren. Outside the end zone needs to be calm now. Gets the dish back to Niall McCarthy. Oh, the difficult grab for Conor Carey and he can't get it. Oh. Ireland really needed that score. And poorly executed end zone pass there.
Yeah, that disc definitely needed to be flatter and nearer to the player. He had all the time to do that, but didn't execute well at all. Schumacher now on the disc, takes the reset back to Mead, who makes sure with that great layout grab, breaks to Thompson. Continues to Parsons, now in the middle of the field. Gives it to Bowen, and it's a totally free play for the goal. Phil Garner left to just jog deep there. Had time to read it, get high, and to make the grab for the goal. GB making it yet again look very easy. Currently up 14-6.
The Irish players knocking on the door again and just failed to execute that last end zone pass. One of the big differences between this GB and Irish team is the GB players able to execute those athletic bids. We've seen one or two layouts from the Irish players and they haven't got their hands to it. While every time there's been a difficult catch for the GB players, it seems to be a 100%er, even though it's forcing them to lay out, get big, but they seem very comfortable doing so. Will Martin lashing it deep now to John Dock. And reels that one in. Better play from the Irish there. Using their big receiver and captain, John Dock. One of the few players able to compete with this GB team athletically.
Well played there by Ireland. Nice quick goal, and that's the sort of play they need to continue with. Here they've got to play some defence though, and stop the machine of Great Britain.
Yeah, the Irish have forced very few turns from this GBO line. Really just one I can think of when they played that zone and GB just going a bit hastily. Otherwise, they've struggled to put them under any real pressure.
I'm just going to clarify that Robbie is Irish, the physio.
Yeah.
He just went to a British university.
I know. Plenty of the Irish team and staff wandering over on British soil, as is the case for many Irish folk.
Another pull out there by the Irish Open team. Jamie Cross bringing it into the brick. Jamie Cross's own fact is that Jamie Bismarck Cross would like to wish his mum a happy birthday for tomorrow. That's quite sweet. Cross here taking on the deep shot to Parsons. Parsons will bid, as always, but not able to keep it in.
Louise with the quick pickup and lashes it deep. Nick Peters competing with Rob Schumacher. Rob getting in front and getting a hand on that disc. Great positioning there by Schumacher.
Yeah, there were 3 GB defenders there. Schumacher, Ford and Wilson all taking part. Don't know if that was really the best option there for the Irish.
You know, the tenacious Venezuelan player Luis, maybe not always making the right option, but yeah, has some fiery throws.
So now Ford trying to work his way out there in zone, gets it to Stobbs. Stobbs not happy with it, there's no cutters. Parsons reacts and works well with Funk. Funk going deep to Wilson. Magnan not quite got the legs on that one. Not a terrible option, but probably needed to be thrown further ahead of Wilson and less into space.
We've seen some good hooks from both teams up until now at this point. Unusual scrappy. Need to clean up their offense. Mark Fanning, the Rebel player, sauntering over to this one. The majority of this team playing for Rebel Ultimate in Cork. Many of the Ranelagh lads choosing to play with the mixed team. But we have a few on the squad. And a timeout call by the Irish. Good decision. They didn't look that smooth and silky in that last few plays, so need to settle their heads here.
We'll take a short break. We'll be back in a couple of minutes.
It's a vital one right now during this stream. So I've got the schedules up here. Is that in their power pool? Oh shit, takes a little bit longer.
Ultimate Central doesn't work.
And the timeout is over now. If you just joined us, this is Liam Grant and David Price with Sky Magazine bringing you coverage of the Ireland GB Open game at the European Ultimate Championships in Copenhagen. Mark Fanning picking up this disc. Ireland setting up in a vert stack. We haven't seen too much of that, usually doing a bit of hole. Looks like GB might be setting up a bit of temporary double coverage here. Man in the lane as well. Goes to Louise. Flashing Murphy, dishing it to Mark Fanning. Big fake. And Louise putting out the space for Oisin, who tries the greatest attempt.
Wilson calmly brings that down, but a foul has been called on the play.
Yeah, it looked like that this came off a bit strange, so not surprised to see a foul called. Louise looking downfield. Now lashing it deep. Alan Kelly trying to chase this man down, does very well. Fakes Nick Peters and then puts down the space. Beautiful stuff from Alan Kelly, the uproar player. Absolutely amazing stuff from that man. Beautiful fake. More of the steady head we need to see from the Irish outside that end zone.
Yeah, that's more like the play we want to see the Irish doing.
I can tell you the Irish losing every game they played earlier on in this tournament, but always coming back. They were down 9-6 against Switzerland and eventually winning 13-10. And they got 3 or 4 breaks in a row at the end of the Belgian game, but unable to catch them eventually. So always a bit of a slow starters, but they keep their heart in the right place till the very end.
They're a bit further out here though, I'd say. 14-8 down.
Yes, yes indeed, and the strongest team they've faced in a long time. But even if they were to lose here, still definitely in contention of making a quarterfinal. We'll have some big games against Russia and France. I imagine Russia's the one they get targeting. If they get a win there, that puts them in a very strong position. John Dock with a big pull here.
Another ground control moment. That finally gets back down to earth for Stobbs to play against this Irish zone. So far, GB haven't really struggled massively against the zone. There's only at one point where they threw a couple of hammers that Ireland were able to get turns using their zone. Wilson now on the disc. Pops it to Stobbs. Gets it back to Cross. Ford now on the disc. And a cheeky hammer, but that isn't quite the way you want the disc to go. Into the floor is not really the preference.
Yeah, don't know why the GB player decided to do that. It seemed like they looked very comfortable with their little give goes and crashes and swings, working up the field. Donal Murray now. Hitting Kev Timoney. Trying to reset with Donal now. A lot of people in lane. He puts up a big floaty one to back. Fanning who lays out to catch it. And there's a call in the field.
Oh, Mark Fanning seems to hurt himself.
Yeah, Mark's been having terrible problems with his shoulder all week, and I don't like the look of this one at all, folks. He did very well to adjust and get his hand onto that one. But yeah, looks like he came down very heavy on that shoulder. Robbie Lillis has been a saint and a scholar all week, the Irish physio. A lot of teams doing that now. Kind of a recent phenomenon the last like 4 or 5 years. Teams choosing to bring a physio along with them.
Yep, the GB team have 3 here.
Come on,
as well as a masseuse.
What else could you bring along?
Well, at ECBU they brought along a foot specialist, so that with the beach they could handle those obvious foot injuries that come along with playing on the beach.
Yeah, looks like this might be dislocated here. The big man hailing from Tipperary.
He's come a long way. That was too easy, come on. That was way too easy. But worth it.
So
I hope he's alright though.
I think it was a call in the field. Maybe a stall out, I don't know, or a pick, but it's been retracted. So Louise coming in instead of Mark Fanning to pick this one up. Darren Scully. Louise going for that hammer, and a poor decision really. I don't think John Dock was expecting that. And they got to turn off this GBO line, and they didn't capitalize and Can't afford to do that, folks.
GB now with the chance to make it 15. Wilson resets to Stobbs. Looks like Ireland have gone into a man. Parslow on the disc. Fakes a deep option. Resets to Cheeseman. Cheeseman goes deep to Parslow. Easily reels that one in. Goes across the pitch to Funk. So calm and collected. Parslow making it look like grade 1 for any instrument. Simplicity.
We'll say the trombone.
Grade 1 tromboning from Parslow.
Yeah, I love that leading pass to a supporting player and then go straight to the end zone. Beautiful stuff. The Irish left waiting in the waters behind them.
Score now 15-8 to Great Britain. And GB call a timeout. And we'll have a little timeout of our own. Go grab some Kit Kats. Take a break. And we'll be back with you in a couple of minutes.
Shannon. 19.
So we've come out of the timeout now. Sun has gone in a little, and we've got a bit of a breeze coming across the pitch. Coming towards the stands away from the camera. Making this a crosswind pitch. But both teams, having played in the weather we've had over the last few days, won't find that a bother at all. So Ireland now on offense.
Irish now on offense. Deco. To Dolmary. The give go from Deco. Good play there. Dara breaking across to Chris Hunter. Chris back to Donald. Hitting Deco again. Slicing it through to Chris Hunter. Dolmary then to drive upfield to gain some yards. Oh, and poor throw from Donald.
Yeah, well read by Richard Raz there, who's now supposedly 100% British. Gets it to Mum, goes around to Ghana. Another goal there for GB, 16-8 up.
Yeah, we've seen a few throwaways from Donald, usually so solid in his decision making. Would just like to see more handlers driving up the line there against that GB zone. We saw Deco gaining some yards. The other handlers, Chris and Darius, choosing to break across, but not really getting any benefit from the difficult throws. You always need someone crashing, pushing up line, and either dragging in that cup or gaining some yards.
games here to 17 or 100 minutes. We're currently coming up to 80 minutes now, but if GB are able to score this, it will be game over. GB now pulling.
That one just going out of bounds. Chris Hunter going to break this one. Having a wee saunter up to the line. I should have said a brick mark. And it's now GB were disguising around there, but have come out in the zone. Donald back to Chris, hitting Deco. Now to Donald, to Derek Kelleher, getting some yards in those swings. Going back to Donald, and now across to Chris Hunter. Derek Burke there with him, hits Chris again. A lot of close players to him there. Potentially a double team by the British, but didn't look like Chris had called it. Looks like they've transitioned to man now as well. Derek Keller lashing this one. And Will Martin again getting on the scoreboard. That man is having an absolutely fantastic game, David.
Yeah, normally a man who we see in Britain playing as a handler seems to be more in the end zone more than often in this game. But some nice patience there from the Irish.
Yeah, taking a leaf out of the British book there and swinging around, gaining some yards. And then when the transition to man came, they kind of caught out the GB players with a deep shot.
The score now 16-9. Great Britain. Now hoping to finish the game with this offensive point. Cheeseman fields to Stobbs. Ireland coming out in the zone again. Couple swings there, but eventually getting it to Ford. Parslow indicating over here on this far sideline he wants a hammer. But they go through the middle and eventually get it to Parslow. Inside to Cheeseman. Leads Parslow. And there's that hammer to Wilson, and the game for Great Britain.
Yeah, sugar-coated hammer to end the game. Well deserved by the British team. Have shown a masterclass in ultimate here and sending a message to everyone else in the open division that they're here to win it.
Yeah, I mean, very early on it was trading for like a couple 2 or 3 points, but after that GB kind of ran away with it with a bunch of breaks. Ireland tried a few things out, and a couple did work. They got a few nice looks out of it, but I think it was just a little too little, a little too late.
Yeah, a lot more experience on this British team. I think any player played for Irish Open 4 years ago. And many of the players on this team, it's their first time competing at the national level. Very few would have went to things like World Ultimate Club Championships, so it's a new experience for a lot of these Irish players, and they've been doing well so far in the tournament. Obviously that win against Switzerland, something to remember, and they can keep their heads held high because 79 isn't that bad of a scoreboard when you look at the talent on this GB team.
Yeah, and I don't think many other teams have scored much more than that here, so they may have the highest score of any team that have played them so far.
I think France might have put up 11. I think that was the closest.
Yeah, actually you're right, yeah. this is still in the power pool, so I think Ireland can still come away with something.
Yeah, 6 teams in the power pools. So Ireland now with 1 win and 2 losses. But France and Russia still to come. You feel even with 2 wins, you're still likely to go through. So I think the game against Russia will be a showdown. Coming up next, we have Switzerland versus Russia in that power pool. Both those teams with 2 losses. I think they might have just played a game recently, so one of them could even have 3 losses. But that's a must-win game for both teams. So we're likely to see one of those nations getting knocked out. Switzerland coming in as a fairly high seed, but a lot of their best players choosing to play in the Masters division. David Moses, Nas, Lorenz. So a younger team that hasn't been performing to their seed. While the Russians always seem to finish strong. Toli Vasiliev, a big standout name in that squad. So that should be a real cracker, I think, David.
Definitely. But to finish here, we've had Great Britain and Ireland. And a very exciting game, very interesting game. The score finished here 17-9. GB now with 3 wins in the power pool and probably punching their way into quarterfinals. This has been David Price for Liam Grant on Sky Magazine's coverage of the European Ultimate Championships. Please tune in later for the next power pool matchup.